I've been a lifelong fan of Assassin's Creed. I was hooked from the first game with its cloak and dagger mystery and its political intrigue, its philosophizing and overall aesthetic. The alternate history of it all and the Ezio trilogy only enhanced this. I also really loved 3 because the colonial America is probably one of my favorite settings history-wise, and who doesn't love the Jack Sparrow-esque adventures of Black Flag? Black Flag, however, was my last Assassin's Creed game besides the Chronicles trilogy, and then it got dumb, or has it always been dumb? Now, I'm going to spoil, like, everything here, mostly for the games that I have played, so if you're looking for that or you don't care about that, feel free. If you haven't played any of these games, I suggest coming back later when you've played, like, up to Black Flag at least. I've also been working my way through the series as a whole again in anticipation for Mirage. I'm playing Origins finally, and I've reinstalled 1 and 3 just for fun, as well as China again. And I've done a partial review for Assassin's Creed 2 / retrospective thing a couple years ago on its 10th anniversary here in the little title card. So here's your warning, spoilers for Assassin's Creed 1, a little bit of the Ezio trilogy, Assassin's Creed 3 kind of, Black Flag kind of, and some of Origins. Now, the title of this is Assassin's Creed Needs to Change. I know, some of you are already thinking, but it already has changed with the RPG trilogy. And now Mirage, it's on its way, or already out by this time, the time you end up watching this, and it seems, or is, a blend of both the RPG and the classic quote-unquote Assassin's Creed games. Mirage even has that nostalgia filter, meaning to replicate the look of one with its blue and grays, despite it only looks like that in Acre and Masyaf, but that's just me nitpicking and neither here nor there. What do I mean by change? I'm mostly talking about the modern day. Probably some of you saw that coming. I understand it's already half-baked into the series, and unlike lasers and others, I think, and have always thought, it was a terrible idea from the get-go. It clearly was only there to bridge the games with a contrived end-of-days narrative that, 1, it wrapped up in number 3 pretty much, and 2, it has no idea what to do with itself now anyway. It was seemingly shoehorned in at the last minute so badly, Ubisoft went to court on a copyright infringement lawsuit. That suit was settled out of court, the guy apparently dropped it all. Sources say he did drop it, but I'm more than willing to bet Ubisoft paid him enough to drop it and keep his mouth shut. That's how bad the modern day sci-fi stuff in this series really is. I'm sorry, it's not good, but did they handle it well? That I have to say yes and no. AC-1 is fully integrated into the Animus, the VR chair that lets you relive your ancestors' memories. It's in the HUD, it's in the world, it's in the controls. You are essentially playing a video game in your video game. It's a clever meta way to explain away multiple NPCs, visual glitches, bugs, basically effort. It explains away any effort Ubisoft didn't put into this or that game and allows them to get away with crazy ideas and gameplay mechanics. The current one here is in AC Mirage. You have a mark and execute mechanic that sees your character boss and teleport from enemy to enemy, and it's explained away as your character is so fast, and because there's stupid sci-fi technology and you are essentially playing a video game, the VR machine just can't keep up with you and how fast your character is, so it glitches out. It's just crazy to me that fans are complaining about a teleport mechanic when, from the get-go, the idea of this series being some grounded take on conspiracy theory Wikipedia is thrown out the window, and everyone was fine with it until now. You can turn invisible, I guess, in Syndicate. You, as Ezio, find glitches in Assassin's Creed 2. You collect Animus fragments from Revelations and stupid stuff in Brotherhood. It's all ridiculous. I will say the only time it actually kind of worked, keyword here, kind of, is from Black Flag and the games after it a little bit. In Black Flag, you are working at a video game company, it takes place in first person, and it's a VR machine or whatever, it's meta. It kind of works here because of those simple details, but still, in the long run, it never should have been in the first place. The modern day is just... It's that in Origins, the modern day is so bad in Origins, you drop out of VR like 3 times total for a total of 5 minutes or something, and like why even bother at this point? They do this really annoying thing where you drop out.
Oh shit! Layla, you need a refill on cyclosporin. Stat! Layla! Wakey wakey! Don't make me come down there. Layla? Layla! Come on back. Layla, are you with me? Habibti.
told you not to call me that.
Thing is, the fastest way to get your attention is to piss you off.
I'm paying attention.
Okay, you need to take a break. The Animus is rejecting you.
I'm fine.
Yes, but your kidneys aren't. Go add more cyclosporin before they shut down.
Yes, Nurse Geary.
That's Medical Officer Geary to you.
Only throw you back in 2 seconds later. And just drop the title card, completely interrupting the flow that you as a player might have had and the investment you might have had within this new story for Origins just to establish the modern day. It's terrible. What about Desmond? I hear some of you say. I like Desmond. Who is Desmond as a character? We know from AC1 he's a bartender who grew up on an assassin training farm. You know, he's cocky a bit, kind of arrogant, and reluctant to be an assassin. He has a strained relationship with his dad. That's all I can really remember. Everything else about Desmond is a proxy of Altair, Ezio, and Connor. The series has a bleeding effect thing. When you are in the Animus, you gain the abilities of your ancestors, okay? Who's to say that the personality doesn't bleed into yours as well? AC1 uses Desmond, essentially you the player, and Altair as blank slates. It's the setup game, and as Desmond and Altair, we discover everything and learn everything as they learn it. Another meta aspect of essentially the bleeding effect in this game. It's clever, I'll give it that. No doubt about it. But if they did use the first-person VR style thing that I know some of you are totally cringing about right now from Black Flag earlier from the start, perhaps it would have gone down better, to me anyway. The modern day stuff only serves to pull you out of the experience, probably to avoid burning out a bit, before shoving you back in. It is very brief, but it's enough to make you just want to skip it, and go back to playing the assassin in a game called Assassin's Creed. Lasers makes a point for AC1 and Desmond as a whole. Through that, the two stories coincide with each other. You can't have one without the other. They feed off of each other, and where as Altair you gain the assassin view on things, in the modern day you gain the Templar side of things.
Two stories are integral to the other one being as deeply interesting as I find it, or at least the people who love Assassin's Creed 1 find it. If you separate them, yeah, it's going to fall flat and it's going to feel a little bit more boring, because you're going to be like, well, the modern day story is just getting in the way and the ancestor story is just a little bit shallow. But the idea is that you experience both in tandem, which is what makes it so strong and interesting. The things that the game actually wants you to consider and be thinking about by the end are only really something you can absorb if you experience both at the same time, rather than switching off when the other one appears. You know what I mean? It's why I think Ezio resonated with such a larger audience, is because you can switch your mind off for the modern day and you can still enjoy Ezio's story, which, while a lot more palatable to a larger audience, I don't think is anywhere near as interesting, as complex, or as risky as what they tried to do with Assassin's Creed 1. Sorry, I ran out of breath.
But again, I disagree, because in AC1, with each target, we get the Templar view already on free will, on this and that, on control, how things should be done, making, again, the modern day a bit pointless, besides the commentary it may or may not add to this overall story about assassins, and now witches, I guess. I could go on about this. I can go on about this all day, but the modern day stuff is unfortunately tied into the main story, but too much with the MacGuffin aspect of the games. Another disappointment. Throughout AC, the Order of Assassins are out to stop the Templars, the bad guys essentially, from taking over the world, okay? They fight for our freedom in the shadows. It gets very philosophical and kind of deep, surprisingly, for a game, but the long and short of it is that they are always after some artifact, some MacGuffin, something. This MacGuffin hunt is what this series should focus on more and just handle it better. From AC1, the Ezio trilogy, a bit of Origins, so far I'm not finished with it yet, it's the Apple of Eden. Yes, the apple Adam and Eve ate from the Garden of Eden to acquire knowledge is actually an ancient alien artifact that you can see past, present, future times, as well as like control minds or something. I'm glossing over it all. This is fine. And before anyone in the comments goes, well, actually it's this and it's not aliens, people, it's aliens. They are using the ancient aliens theory about the pyramids and all these unexplained, it's too good to be man-made future tech and the past conspiracy, only they renamed it, but it's regardless still ancient aliens. It's the damn History Channel. I digress. So the first half of the series handles this pretty well. It's a consistent through line that ties the first few games together in a really good way. And because you have this MacGuffin of the week, Indiana Jones style running throughout the game, it works and it keeps the series on the same track, so to speak, a nice and tight little narrative. Now, as I said, I haven't played Rogue, Syndicate. I've played maybe the first 10 or 20 minutes of Unity and the other 2 RPG games, and I'm playing through Origins right now, and while I'm recording this, I'm installing Odyssey, and I have about, God, just 1 day and 24 hours. My internet's really bad. I argue that, again, taking out the modern day completely and purely focusing on Artifact of the Week would have been way better. It connects the games easily, and you have more focus on telling a better AC story instead of coming up with this or that for the modern day. This also leaves room for more mystery, and it should stay a mystery. Having everything explained takes away from the creative fan theories and other things from the games about the conspiracy theories, essentially. Having a community come up with and build their own theories by having these just be mysteries, just enough to keep it interesting, is a better way to go. I get that it's very hard to balance, but can you imagine if they hadn't explained everything away as ancient alien stuff so early on? Or if they hadn't done whatever the fuck this is in Origins?
It is not enough to tell time. You must learn time. To work with your shielding disease, and in so doing, escape the inescapable. Fill in the blanks, the ones hiding between words, between worlds. Find the spaces that we could not erase.
Hell, the space crap even Bayek doesn't care about. It's a MacGuffin as a B-plot while focusing on the classic revenge story. That's a pretty solid narrative.
My brother.
That's what's so good about the Indiana Jones trilogy. The artifact at the end doesn't really matter. Nothing is explained. It's up for the fans to come up with their own theories. Like, can you imagine if they made a 4th and 5th Indiana Jones movie? Sure, you can keep the ancient alien tech, but imagine, just imagine, if they didn't give the twist away and it was just left open after the second game. Imagine exploring these areas in Origins and having no idea what's going on, but instead my brain goes, well, this looks really cool, but it's just fucking aliens. It got stupid. It got so stupid. All of this is why I actually think Chronicles are some of the best games in the series, story-wise anyway. Gameplay-wise, they're just a discount Mark of the Ninja, which is fine, and the modern-day versions of the old 2D Prince of Persia games, which is even better, but Chronicles has no modern day. It's a MacGuffin hunt with the Koh-i-Noor, this precursor box or something, being the through piece of the series. The alien crap is thrown in there just enough to keep it relative. It's a shame, though, that Chronicles had such interesting settings for all 3 games, because fans have been craving for a fully 3D Assassin's Creed China, India, or even World War I for like years now. I know I'm asking for a lot, and it's probably never going to change, but I really do hope to God that Mirage changes the series up just enough for the better. I know the modern day is never going away, but if it's hardly there in Mirage, then all the better for it. If the story is a character-focused philosophical debate between assassins and Templars, then all the better for it. From what I've read, some of this is actually going to happen, so I'm kind of excited about that. I know the RPG games have turned a lot of the fans off, and with Mirage probably being a half-baked return to the roots, like the marketing says, at least it's a step forward, which is sad. It's sad that fans have wanted to change, and then we got it, and then all they want is for the old style of games again. It's sad that Ubisoft just won't listen to what the fans actually want, but then again, every fan wants something different, nobody really knows. This is when like a really long detailed survey would probably come in handy, in some way, shape, or form. It's sad that a series about mystical, scheming assassins and Templars and ancient aliens and managed to turn all this into the most uninteresting thing possible. In the end, Assassin's Creed needs to change. But the worst part is that the series had to basically go back to the beginning in a way to fix itself. I think Assassin's Creed needs to be put on ice for the moment. It became a yearly Call of Duty style release is when it got bad. I loved the first few entries, but the year we got 3 Assassin's Creed games in a row with Black Flag, Rogue, and Unity was the year I tapped out. It's taken me years to jump back in, and although Origins is more Witcher 3 than AC, the Assassin's Creed moments in Origins the Assassin's Creed moments in Origins keeps my hope alive, and I think the story is one of the best. It hardly touches on the alien stuff, the modern day is barely there, and the narrative with Bayek is just a simple A to B plot involving an ancient order and you gotta kill him. While writing this up, I just finished the Crocodile series of quests and my heart kind of just dropped. I haven't been this invested in an Assassin's Creed game in a long time, and it feels pretty good actually.
I've missed your touch. I have missed touching you. I killed as well. Acteon. I hunted.
Anyways, I think this rant is over. Let me know your thoughts down below. Please, no spoilers, just in case people haven't finished some of these games. Will you be picking up Mirage? What's your favorite Assassin's Creed game and why? What would you change about this series? As far as parkour goes, or the free running, I suggest go checking out White Light's video. I'll leave a comment or a link down below on the subject. He sums it up really well. Basically, me and him have the same thinking, except for Unity. The little I've played of Unity, I hated the parkour immediately. It's so floaty. I understand it's not even close to finished or whatever that word means nowadays, but I don't know how fans think like Unity is the peak of the parkour of the series when it feels the way it feels. I get it looks badass, but like, come on. Assassin's Creed 1, Ezio, and even 3, Black Flag, I'd say even have better feeling parkour than Unity does. That's just me. I'm baffled as to why they didn't just take the parkour from Prince of Persia right from the get-go for Assassin's Creed 1, but anyways, that's it. I've been Calypso, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.